everyone, and welcome to episode 13. Hey. So today I decided I'm going to do something different. Today we're going to do something called Girl Talk. So I called on one of my best friends from we've been really good friends forever. And we were having a conversation the other day and we just went off on midlife stuff. And I'm like, we need to record this and share it.
But we just go off when we talk though.
We go off because midlife mamas it can set us off. Here's why, because it's a huge transition in life, right? And we all have kids and we're trying to let go of our kids. And what I've been coming up with recently is like, how do I let them go? Like just literally let them go, but not think like, oh my God, I'm a horrible human because I'm letting them go, right? It's like, I need you just to go and do your own shit. And then in my brain, I'm like,
you're like the worst mom in the whole world because you didn't I don't know, go over and wipe the dust off their shirt or make them cookies while they were doing it. Or they wanted cookies and you just said, well, you could make your own cookies. And they were like, what? And then you were like, I'm like the worst mom ever because I didn't make cookies.
First of all, I don't make my kids cookies. So you are a really good
mom. So it's actually me that has the problem and not you.
I'm like, you make your kids cookies? Oh my God.
I used to when they were smaller, and now as they've gotten bigger, who has time to make cookies? But every once in a while, and then they're like, you used to make cookies, and I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. But I think what it comes up for me is like, don't say it. Like I'm thinking in my brain, they're doing something and I don't want to say do it like this or do it. I got to let them go. Like just do it however you want. Who cares? And just without feeling like I'm not a caring person, right? Do you find that happens?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like, I think about when I was growing up, right? And I swear, I don't think anybody was even watching what I was doing.
No, nobody was caring.
Nobody was caring. But it's not that they didn't care about me, but they didn't watch most of the time. And they were just like, okay, Sandra, go do the thing. And I was like, okay, I'll go do the thing. And then I would struggle through it. And that's how I learned. And somebody once said this to me. They said it's something about you have to do a struggle fest. And I cannot remember where I read this or heard it, but it's the way you learn is you have a struggle fest, right? And so then I always think about that, but it's still hard. So the kids will be like, I'll be like, okay, tonight you guys can make your own dinner. And then I'm just like,
oh, you want to get in there. You want to say something, right? And your brain is like, don't.
And it's like, they're like, and I'm like, what are you? But I got to be like, okay, the way I learned, unless there is something dangerous, right? Unless something's going on where I'm like, okay, turn the gas off on the stove, my friend, we're going to blow the house up, right? In general, I figured it out and I'm spectacularly, I don't know, whatever, but I that's how you learn. You do something, you make mistakes. Don't work. Maybe you have to make the mistake 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. I don't know what it is. And then you try a different way and you're like, oh my gosh, that totally worked better. But the way I learned was doing things and making mistakes. And so I try to tell myself this. Even when I try to tell myself this, it maybe keeps me from from leaping in.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm going to go with a proportion of the time. I don't know what it is though, but I'm still kind of standing there going, oh my gosh, I should be fixing it. I should be doing it. Oh my gosh, why are they doing it? That's my job. I'm not a good mom if I don't do it.
And then also thinking how do they even survive?
How are they going to survive? How
do they function in the world if they can't figure what is going on inside their brains, right?
Totally. But then you go and then you experiment, right? And then you go, okay, could you go do this thing for me? And in your mind, you're like, there's no way this person is not able to do this thing. You would if you told me about your kid, I'd be like, oh no, your kid be fine. But my kid, apparently in my head, but even though I know my kids are super functional, they're fine. But in my head, I'm like, I don't really know if they can do that. And then I experiment and I'm like, well, I guess what's the worst that could happen? So I send them off.
Yeah.
And they just most of the time do it.
Yeah. They come back, right?
They come back and they've done the thing, maybe not the way I would do it.
Yeah. It's like today, Santos was like, hey, can I borrow? He just got his N yesterday.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
have a
Oh my gosh,
standard.
congratulations.
Yes. And so I've hit the jackpot. I'm like, go be free.
Jackpot.
I
That
don't have
is
to drive
jackpot.
anybody. And so he's taking my older son with him. And I'm like, yeah, go. And everything inside my brain is going on. I'm like, just go. And instead of watching him out the window, I just walked away because he'll be fine. And if I don't
High
watch
five.
it, like, right? That is a
Mhm.
win for me.
That is
Such
a
a big win.
win.
Yeah.
That is a win. And did you feel like watching it? Or have you gotten to the point where you could just be like, yes, fine, and just walked away? Or did you force
No.
yourself to walk away?
Girl, it was his first time using the car. So I had to walk away. But didn't I say before he left, okay, remember, turn the emergency brake off and remember, shoulder check. Always assume somebody's, of
Yeah,
course,
like
I told
somehow
him
they
3
can
or
hear
4
you.
things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's just like,
And he's like,
yeah. No, he's got it. He's
yeah,
got it
mom.
mastered. He knows if he just says, oh yeah, mom, then I'll let it go, right?
Yeah,
But
sure,
but
sure.
the other one will be like, will resist. And then there's just more. If you just go, yeah, that's right. That's a good idea. Then I'll stop talking. Right.
Yeah, 100%.
But I had to say it.
100%. And
Yeah.
like the thing is it's kind of like a weird safety behavior, right? It's
Yes.
something you're doing that you think is keeping them safe or keeping you safe or whatever, right? And so that's what we do. We're like, oh, and this and this and this and this other thing. They're not going to remember, frankly.
No.
And with you, if you like do it too much, there's going to be like,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And so, I mean, there's some things you probably like need to tell them.
Yeah. There's a fine line, isn't there?
Fine
Like,
line.
yeah.
Again, turn the gas off on the stove. We're going to blow up the
That
house.
that is a big, and it's funny because it's like they say, hey, you can stop momming now. Cause I said, can I stop momming? They're like, yes, you can stop momming until they need me to mom. Like when they want stuff, like cooking and stuff like that. Cause I'm like, I don't want to mom anymore. And that's cooking. Cooking is a big, I loved grocery shopping, but cooking.
No.
And so they don't want you to mom them until they don't want to do something. Right. Does that make sense? Do you find that too?
Yes.
Yeah. And then they
It's
want
like,
you to
don't
mom
tell me
again.
what to do. Like, don't like get in on my space. Don't do
Yeah.
it. And then it's like, can you do this for me? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
how do I, and they know, kids are smart. They know if they ask us, like, if they don't want to do something and they just ask us a question like, hey, how do you do this? That we'll just jump right in and do it. Oh, here,
my gosh.
right? They're so
100%.
smart because we can't help ourselves.
It's because we're over functioners.
Yeah. And I think
We're just like in there, like a dirty
so
shirt, man.
in midlife, we want to stop over functioning. We just want to let go. Do you find, this is what I've been finding lately, that I feel really there's this sadness coming up and this loneliness because I got to let my kids go. I got to let them go. So when they're sitting there watching their movie, they like to watch really cheesy 80s movies and eat their snacks. And I'm like, I want to be a part of it so bad, but I
Oh
can't.
my gosh, you just want to like when they were little.
Yes.
Right. And you just want to be like that, like, and you like think back and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember when they were little and they just wanted to like, and remember you didn't want, like, it was like, oh my gosh, they're just touching me all the time.
I just need 2 seconds.
I just need 2 seconds of that. Apparently we were supposed to save it up and then like disperse it over our lives. But 100%, I think that, and I think, oh, I just want to be like, I just want to be like get a little snuggle in, and I just want to like be a part of 100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
and I
trying
kind of like, it's like that nostalgia, but also that like a little bit of tiny, that like, it's almost like a tiny empty nest grief thing. That's like,
it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cause those are the two things. There's a loneliness and a sadness. Like I have to let them go. So I have to like not impose on who they are and what they're doing and stuff. But I just feel, because I don't feel like a regular mom. I feel like a friend almost. And it's like,
yeah.
kicked out of the group, when there's 3.
Yes.
It's
Oh my
like,
God. Yeah. It feels like you're being excluded somehow.
yeah.
From
Remember when we were girls and
oh my
and
gosh,
there was
right?
like, oh, we don't like her today. Oh, that was horrible. That was horrible.
We were
But
never that mean. we were
like
mean, I think.
girls. Yeah. So, but why? Like, don't you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I was mean to anybody.
Sorry to all the people, all the friends out there.
All the people I was mean to.
Yeah.
And then we're friends with again the next day or whatever.
So is karma coming back in the kids thing, right?
Yeah.
How do we just let go and be like, okay, they still love us and we don't need to be a part of everything we do. We're not going to be their best friends, but
I think you're doing it, Heather, though, right? Like I think it's a process over time. I think some people don't even come to that question. Like they don't even really think about that. Like, was it roots and wings or whatever, right? And you see some like older parents who are still like trying to get in there. And I feel like as long, like, don't you feel like as long as you're aware of it and kind of like thinking about it,
yeah.
then you're kind of like, you're not doing it perfectly because frankly, impossible.
Yeah.
Right. But you're like,
do you feel that? Do you feel that? Like,
oh yeah.
I gotta sacrifice a little bit of my happiness or whatever it is to let them go more. Like, just let them go more. Like, hey
Oh
guys,
yeah,
what are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
would you want to hang out with me?
Yeah, you
talk
want
to
to
me?
hang out?
Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to watch
Yeah.
a movie? And they're like, no, I do
No.
not want to watch a movie with you.
Yeah. And
Oh,
that's
and
the
then you
thing.
feel totally rejected. Like,
Totally rejected. Totally.
oh,
Because it's like
even though
Friday
you
night.
know.
Yeah, it's Friday night and it's like, I'm not going to make plans until I know they're doing something because they might say yes, that they will do something with me. And I'm not going to lie, it was recently my
Yeah, yeah.
birthday and Mother's Day is coming up. And my rule is
Yes,
you have
yes.
to do whatever I want without complaining. And I'm in heaven because I'm like, I got my friends, but my besties,
Yeah,
like,
your
it's like, yeah,
buddies.
you have to do. And they're like, Mom, what do you want to do? And they're there for me 100%. Do you do that on like your birthday and stuff like that?
No,
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 no
but we get
complaining.
to have whatever I want for dinner.
Okay. Like, do you know the one thing that I
No
do all the
complaining. I'm going to
time?
institute that. That seems like it
Okay.
might be too late. I
No,
might have
no,
missed
it's
that
never,
window.
the mom guilt works every time. So you can use that to your advantage. That's a superpower, just so you know,
not to
mom
use the
guilt.
mom guilt. But,
It's a superpower. Feel free to use it.
okay.
Here's what I make my kids do, and I make them do it, and they never complain. We do a dance video. We do.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah, and they're like, "We'll do this.
That
You
is
never
right.
show it to anybody ever." I'm like, "Okay, I won't show it to people, but I'm gonna tell people. I won't show it, but I'm."
I
And
don't
so
have seen this.
you might have seen it, but that's because like,
Only on your phone when you
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but only
I
like
trust you
actually
that much.
you didn't even show it
No,
to me
it didn't
ever.
happen.
No,
It
didn't happen.
So,
No, no.
how do you think? What are our takeaways from how we can survive midlife, like besides alcohol and stuff? What are our survival skills through midlife when we're letting go of our kids in the kindest way possible for both sides, for us and for them, and getting back to who we are, putting ourselves
Yeah.
first, right? Like, what can we leave here with as our number one takeaway that we can do this as gracefully as possible?
Like not so I feel like, okay, number one takeaway. I don't know if I can distill it in one thing, my friend, but maybe it's like getting to know yourself better, developing a relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
and like broadening that. Like I when I think about like moms that I know, I feel like there's like stages in their development, almost like they go through these renaissances, maybe more than one, right? Like
Mhm.
first stage, you're like in constant physical contact with the child because you got to like wipe things and feed them and the whole nine
Yeah,
yards, and
they'll
then
die if you don't,
they'll die.
right?
You're like,
You
they'll
have to
die.
always
You got to
keep
be
touching
there.
them.
You got to
Yeah.
be there, and it's like, right?
Yeah.
And then you go like, I can't remember, like then they get a little bit older and they can like run around. Well, then big physical, like, oh my gosh, chase after them. At some point, they like start to be able to like tie their own shoes and
Yeah.
put their own clothes on.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can then develop a little bit of outside interests.
But we don't do that. I think we as moms don't do that.
I feel like some do, some people do,
Yeah.
and some people don't.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think maybe that's one of the keys is
Yeah.
actually like getting to know yourself and developing those outside connections. You're always going to be connected to your kids, but
Yeah.
in different ways. And as they get older, like broadening that. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I agree. I think I like to encourage my people to focus their momming, because momming is a superpower, and focus it on themselves, because we're so
Ooh,
kind and compassionate.
self-compassion.
Yes, like we would
Love
do
self-compassion.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if we could mom ourselves
Oh yeah,
through this
100%.
transition, what
Sure,
would
I
that
like it.
look like? So we don't have to give up momming. We
No.
just redirect it and like,
So it's
and
like, hey,
repurpose it.
sweetie, hey, how you doing
Yeah.
today?
Yeah.
I'm noticing a little tension in there. Tell
Mm,
me about that. And
yeah.
then like literally figuring out like, what am I feeling tense about? Like, I'm
Yeah.
feeling a little anxious. What am I feeling anxious about? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
feeling sad. What am I
Yeah.
feeling sad about? And not trying to be like, go away sad. I got all this stuff to do. But
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? Oh, you're allowed to feel sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe do you need like a little time off? What do you need right now? Like literally, I love that, momming yourself.
Yeah. So holding that compassionate space, because
Yeah.
as we're changing and growing, we are never failing. We're just learning as we go. Oh,
Yeah.
how am I in this part of my life? Because it
Oh
is
my
a
gosh, yes.
transition. It's like, who do I want to be? I like to say it's like we get to decide who we want to be in this moment. Who am I going to be now? And we can totally reinvent ourselves,
Sure.
right? Like,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
This is totally I kind of feel like, this is what you get. This is life. This is all you get.
Yeah.
And it's probably like a big adventure for most of
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
right? But that's kind of cool. So you're right. Like, I love that. You can, as you're going through this phase, if you're noticing that stuff, like you're feeling sad or it's feeling weird or it's feeling different, because it is different.
Yes. Yeah. And it's okay.
And that's
Right.
totally okay. And
Yeah.
it will be different and it will be different again. And
Yeah.
then just when you think
Got it figured out.
you got it figured out, what
Yeah.
happens, Heather? What happens?
It's going to be different again.
And then it'll be different
Yeah.
again.
Yes. It's so
Right? Like
true.
you were like, the kids were like 8 and 9, and you were like, oh, I'm like awesome sauce at
Got
this
this.
parenting
Yeah.
stuff. I totally got
Yeah.
this. And then
They
curveball.
became
You're
teenagers.
like, what?
It's like, what happened?
No, I totally had it figured out, man.
And then you find you're saying things that your parents said to you, the exact words, and you're like, oh my gosh,
Like,
this is
oh,
horrible.
that is not
Those words
oopsie.
came out of my mouth.
Well, that never happens to
Yeah.
me at
Oh,
all.
that's
Ever.
the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah.
So we
is
we
that,
know.
like, what do you do for like takeaway? Like, what's your takeaway?
Well, it's like wine, and no, I don't drink wine, but I think that's like, we got to just relax a little. And
So how do you relax?
I think you can cut yourself some slack. That's what I'm saying, is like, cut yourself some slack. There's no wrong way or
Yeah,
right way
I
to
like
do
that.
it. You're
Yeah.
just going to experience it, but you're going to put all of your momming superpowers onto yourself and be like, who do I want to be? Because you're different than when you first had your kids. You're a whole new person. And in this moment, if I put myself first and my needs first and my desires first, what would that look like? And how could I support myself if this was
Oh my
my
gosh, and
child
that's
doing
so
it?
scary for so many people, though. That's
Yeah.
scary for us. Like, how am I going to put, like, I talk to people all the time and they're like, but putting myself first feels selfish.
Yes.
And I feel guilty for doing
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how we got in this mess in the first place, is
That
we're
is
like
actually
the mom guilt. And that's like, no, if I just do for everybody else. But
Yeah.
actually, I don't think there's such a thing as being selfish, because I think the more you know yourself and the kinder you are towards yourself, the better for everybody around you. If you're
I agree.
loving yourself and happy, you're going to show up as a better mom and wife and partner and friend and all
Totally.
that kind of stuff.
Like,
Right.
if you don't take a break,
Yeah.
you're going to be crabby.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to want that.
No,
Nobody
they're all going to
wants-
pay the price.
Everyone pays the
They're
price.
going to be like,
You're
yeah.
going to be like, can you please go take a break?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like awareness, of course, but let's just celebrate us as women and all that we've done and all that we're doing and all of our potential, and just really celebrate who we are as women and moms, and support each other through this.
I like it.
Right. And I'm excited because I'm talking to you, and I know that as your kids get older too, you and I get to spend more time together. Right.
I know, right? Yeah. I have some women friends whose kids have already transitioned, right? And they're older. And so they're like, hey, Sandra, do you want to come do this? And I'm like,
They're all free.
I can't. And they were like, oh, you're in that phase.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, oh, soon. But I keep connection with them.
They
Right.
They give you that look and they have the sympathy. They're like, oh yes, I remember
Yeah.
that
Oh,
stage.
they're like, oh.
You're like in the
And
wine.
I can't connect with them as much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can still, and I think that's super key. It's probably super key at every stage of your momming, at every stage of your life, but every stage of your momming, keeping connection with other people, because I think that's the thing that, like, for a lot of us keeps us, like, that's taking care of ourselves. Right.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, so much good stuff.
So much.
Sandra, thank you for joining me on my first Girl Talk. This has
Thank
been
you, Heather.
so much fun. So much fun. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. Remember, always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.